China's $10 billion mega canal shocks the U.S. minus 560 kilometers trade route slashed. A colossal cargo ship, longer than a football field, weighing over 100,000 tons, not docked at Shanghai's port, not anchored in Singapore, but silently gliding deep into mainland China, traversing a brand new, man-made canal that opened in 2025. Welcome to the Pinglu Canal, China's second largest inland waterway, where there are no ocean waves, but a steady flow of goods worth hundreds of billions of dollars moves quietly each year, stretching 135 kilometers. It directly connects China's industrial southwest to the South China Sea, allowing ships with a capacity of up to 80,000 tons to travel from Guizhou to the ocean without detouring through overland routes or climbing steep railway gradients. Even more striking, this single canal saves China over 6 billion yuan annually, equivalent to $830 million USD, simply by streamlining logistics and shifting transport from roads to inland waterways. While the US is debating whether to repair century-old bridges, China is digging new channels for Suezmax-class ships to sail into the heart of its interior. Join Top 10 Discoveries to answer the question: is this just a standalone infrastructure project or the next step in China's grand strategy to reshape the economic and geopolitical map? In an ambitious leap, China is constructing one of the largest inland canals of the 21st century. The Pinglu Canal, a 135-mile waterway entirely within Guangxi province, aimed at restructuring the supply chain from China's heartland to ASEAN's maritime hubs. This isn't just an infrastructure project, it's a strategic statement about logistics, sovereignty, and control over transcontinental trade routes. The Pinglu Canal, or Pinglu Yunhe is not just any ordinary waterway. It's China's largest man-made inland canal since the Ming Dynasty. Designed to link the economic hinterlands of Guangxi with the strategic seaport of Qinzhou, and beyond that, the entire ASEAN trade network, spanning a total of 135.2 miles. Pinglu surpasses the 82-mile Panama Canal in length, though not in intercontinental scope. What makes it remarkable isn't its length, but its complete artificiality. The entire route is carved through hilly terrain and plains, requiring an enormous volume of earthwork, 339 million cubic meters, equivalent to about 135,000 Olympic swimming pools, or enough material to fill over 20 Giza pyramids. The canal's average water surface width is estimated at 180 meters wide, enough for large cargo ships to turn around and pass in both directions. Meanwhile, its depth is maintained between 5.6 and 6.0 meters, accommodating ships with a 5-meter draft. Typically 5,000-ton cargo vessels, measuring about 90 meters long and 15.8 meters wide. These are the workhorse ships of domestic and ASEAN trade, especially for transporting containers, agricultural products, minerals, and industrial equipment to regulate water levels and navigate elevation changes. The canal features 3 lock systems, sluices at Madao, Kishi, and Kinyan. These locks enable ships to overcome a maximum elevation difference of up to 65 meters, equivalent to a 22-story building. The integration of automated water level regulation allows the canal to operate 24/7, unaffected by seasonal river fluctuations. Unlike traditional river routes, beyond transportation, the canal significantly impacts land use and ecology. The project occupies an additional 835.7 hectares of land, mostly for irrigation works, power systems, and logistics service areas. Along the canal, China has built supporting infrastructure, including power stations, emergency service ports, fish passages, and flood control zones, creating an integrated model of transportation erology. Compared to global waterway systems like the Mississippi in the US or the Rhine in Europe, which largely rely on natural river flows, Pinglu is a fully artificial canal designed to modern standards, incorporating automation, GIS, and remote control technologies. This positions Pinglu as a 21st century model for inland waterways and a symbol of China's logistics sovereignty in the post-container era. The Pinglu Canal, a national priority infrastructure project under China's 14th five-year plan, officially broke ground in August 2022. Unlike many megaprojects worldwide that drag on for decades, Pinglu is progressing at breakneck speed. The goal is to complete construction in just over 3 years. By late 2025, full operations starting in 2026, the announced total investment is 72.7 billion yuan, equivalent to about $10.1 billion USD, making Pinglu one of the most expensive canal projects in modern Chinese history, surpassed only by certain segments of the South-North Water Transfer Project. As of the end of Q1 2025, March 31, 2025, official reports from China Daily indicate that 51.8 billion yuan has been disbursed, reaching 71.2% of the total investment, showing construction is on track, a notable achievement given that infrastructure projects in developed nations often face delays due to red tape, budget issues, or land acquisition disputes. The Pinglu Canal isn't designed to break records for tonnage like the Panama or Suez canals, but it's optimized for a strategic purpose: maximizing domestic transport efficiency within the Xizang River system while cutting logistics costs and speeding up connections to the ASEAN market. The entire route is built to accommodate 5,000-ton cargo ships, a size deemed optimal for traffic volume, maintenance costs, and the handling capacity of ports along the route. Transit time from inland industrial hubs like Hangzhou, Nanning, or Guizhou to the Qinzhou seaport, the gateway to the Baibu Gulf, is shortened by over 560 kilometers, equivalent to a 15 to 20-hour reduction as compared to traditional routes that detour through Guangdong's river systems. According to the announced timeline, initial operations 2026, the canal will handle approximately 89 million tons of cargo annually. By 2035, capacity will rise to 95 million tons per year, supported by additional transshipment ports and logistics hubs at both ends. By 2050, the long-term goal is 150 million tons per year, nearly double the current total cargo volume through the entire Panama Canal system. Notably, the canal doesn't just serve transportation, it also supports functions like water supply, irrigation, flood control, and aquatic ecosystem preservation. This is a multifunctional infrastructure. It's a model that China is replicating in key economic regions, particularly those tied to the Belt and Road Initiative. More than just an inland transport canal, the Pinglu Canal is designed as a multi-layered infrastructure system, tightly integrating transportation, energy, and ecological preservation. This is no longer a traditional canal, but a modern hydraulic technology ecosystem, where every detail serves both commercial efficiency and environmental sustainability. Prime example is the Qingnian Hub Power Station, completed on May 4, 2025. This cluster includes 2 small 1.6 megawatts power units, harnessing the regulated flow of the lock system to produce about 13 gigawatt hours of clean electricity annually. While not a massive figure, this energy is enough to power over 10,000 households and, more importantly, reduces emissions by over 11,700 tons of CO per year, contributing to China's 2060 carbon neutrality commitment. Notably, the system includes dedicated fish passagessa feature, typically seen in European or North American projects, marking a significant step in preserving aquatic biodiversity in the Xizang Delta. At the same time, the Xinzhou Port Integrated Service Zone became operational on April 30, 2025, spanning 142,200 square meters. This complex includes 5 emergency berths, each capable of handling 5,000-ton ships. This is a critical logistics hub for managing waterway traffic, addressing natural disasters, and providing support services for the entire canal, a factor that allows Pinglu to operate flexibly and independently without relying on neighboring provinces' coordination capacity. According to internal analyses and preliminary reports, the completed Pinglu Canal could save China over 6 billion yuan, annually roughly $830 million. USD primarily through reduced road transport costs, lower fuel consumption, and optimized cargo transit times from inland regions to export seaports. This isn't just an economic benefit, it's a geopolitical strategy. In a context where southern China's rail lines, especially the Chongqing-Guangzhou corridor, exceeding design capacity, and road transport costs are rising, an independent, year-round canal becomes a strategic alternative when compared to the U.S., where inland waterway modernization, projects like the Mississippi River deepening or inland waterways, modernization are stalled by budget and federal approval barriers. Pinglu stands out as a textbook example of policy decisiveness and centralized execution in China. On the global logistics map, Pinglu isn't just a canal, it's a soft power lever, soft weapon for China to restructure its domestic supply chain, shorten the time to bring goods to international markets, and thereby bolster its strategic position in global supply chains, particularly for Southeast Asia and BRICS markets. Amid China's push for supply chain localization and logistics network restructuring post-COVID-19, the Pinglu Canal emerges as a strategic linchpin, shortening the transport route from the southwest interior to the South China Sea by up to 560 kilometers before Pinglu goods from major production hubs like Chongqing, Guizhou, or Hunan typically traveled by road or rail through Guangdong to reach coastal ports like Shenzhen or Guangzhou. However, this incurred massive fuel costs, infrastructure congestion, and significant CO emissions. With Pinglu, heavy cargo like coal, iron ore, fertilizers, cement, bulk agricultural products, and containerized goods can now be transported by 5,000-ton ships with operating costs 30 to 60% lower than road transport, while slashing millions of tons of CO emissions. Annually, by reducing reliance on long-haul trucks, the new canal also accelerates cargo load in ways current road infrastructure cannot match. For instance, a shipment from Guizhou to Qinzhou port typically took 7 to 8 days by combined road and rail. With Pinglu, this drops to just 2 to 3 days, thanks to continuous water flow without mid-journey cargo transfers and 24/7 operations, unaffected by traffic or road conditions. This is particularly critical for time-sensitive agricultural products, or containerized goods requiring precise port arrival times to maintain. Export schedules, a capability older Chinese logistics systems never achieved, given the rugged terrain and lack of modern infrastructure. Southwestern provinces like Guizhou, Sichuan, and Chongqing have long been dubbed trapped manufacturing hubs. Pinglu opens a new sea access route for these regions, creating a novel east-west transport corridor that eases pressure on the overloaded north-south corridor. Industrial zones once overlooked deep inland can now connect directly to a national waterway, gaining faster access to the port system and international sea routes like ASEAN maritime, African routes, and especially the BRICS Maritime Silk Road. Beyond boosting domestic connectivity, the Pinglu Canal is expected to increase cargo volume and flow through coastal port clusters like Qinzhou Port, the strategic gateway linking ASEAN and China. Fangcheng Port, specializing in coal and minerals. Guangsu Zhuang Autonomous Region, minority-focused area integrated into the minority region development through connectivity strategy. These ports are undergoing upgrades to handle larger ships, expand storage, and integrate smart container control systems, paving the way for them to become new logistics hubs for Southeast Asia. In the modern geopolitical chessboard, where geography shapes strategy, China is quietly forging a new lever. Not with aircraft carriers or missiles, but with a 135.2-mile canal carved through mountains, bringing goods from deep inland straight to the sea, bypassing strategic maritime choke points like the Malacca Strait. Over 60% of China's imported oil and more than 80% of its exported goods currently pass through the Malacca Strait, which is just approximately 3 kilometers wide at its narrowest point and easily controlled by U.S. naval forces in Singapore, the Indian Ocean, and the South China Sea. In any conflict scenario, Malacca becomes a deadly strategic bottleneck for China. Pinglu alleviates pressure on the traditional southeast-north route by opening a new southwest pathway long underinvested directly to the South China Sea via Qinzhou Port. This is part of Beijing's decade-long Strait-independent strategy, married with rail routes through Laos, Myanmar, and the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC). The Pinglu Canal isn't just a transport route. It thrusts southwest China directly into the Baibu Gulf, an area bordering Vietnam, the Philippines, and key South China Sea island chains. Qinzhou Port, where the canal ends, is being upgraded into a super transshipment hub with integrated railroad connectivity to Indochina. This is a strategic move to amplify China's economic and logistical influence in ASEAN region, long seen as a commercial backyard and a battleground for influence with the US, Japan, and India. If the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) is China's strategy to connect with the outside world, Pinglu is BRI internalized, linking poor, heavy industrial and manufacturing regions deep inland where logistics costs have long hindered exports. Instead of relying on the overloaded Guangdong corridor, Pinglu opens a national waterway, enabling provinces like Guizhou, Hunan, and Yunnan to tap directly into international export networks. This is a model China has already applied to highways, high-speed rail, and 5G networks. Now extended to waterway logistics, compared to the US with its aging inland waterways like the Mississippi River System, the Illinois Waterway, or Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway, which are fragmented and often stalled for upgrades due to political gridlock. China's ability to start and complete a 135-mile canal in just 4 years with a 72.7 billion yuan (10.1 billion United States dollars) budget is telling. Projects like the USS Inland Waterways Modernization Plan or Mississippi Deepening remain stuck awaiting congressional funding. This underscores China's centralized mobilization and strategic prioritization, something the US cannot easily replicate in its decentralized political system. Pinglu is more than a canal, it's a geopolitical tool designed to reduce reliance on blockadable sea routes, open new export corridors from remote regions, solidify positioning in the South China Sea and ASEAN, and compete with the US through a build first, standardize later export technology. Next model. This is a strategic canal no less impactful than Panama or Suez. When looking at the Pinglu Canal, one might think it's just a domestic infrastructure project. But the numbers behind its 135-mile stretch paint a far clearer strategic picture of China, anchoring geopolitical influence through the 21st century. Logistics infrastructure. Though the canal is currently designed for 5,000-ton ships, some circulating claims mention 100,000-ton vessels, equivalent to Suezmax, one of the largest ship classes that can transit the Suez Canal. If this is China's long-term vision, Pinglu is merely the opening shot, and in the future, China could dig parallel routes, deepen the channel, or build large-scale container transshipment hubs, turning the Baibu Gulf into Asia's Rotterdam. While no official confirmation exists for the 100,000-ton scenario, the technical groundwork and development trajectory strongly suggest this direction. Beyond its length, Pinglu cuts through mountains, rivers, and densely populated areas, requiring synchronized engineering solutions like 3-tier lock systems, embankment reinforcements, and integrated renewable energy. This is the first fully artificial canal of the 21st century, longer than Panama, and its strategic ambition rivals Egypt's 2015 Suez Canal expansion. Based on traffic and lock capacity calculations, the Pinglu Canal can handle over 3,000 ship transits annually, averaging 8 to 10 trips per day, with each ship carrying 5,000 tons. This translates to 130 to 150 million tons per year by 2050, making it one of Asia's highest capacity artificial waterways, compared to the Mississippi, US, where most barges carry only 1,500 to 2,000 tons and are weather dependent. Pinglu creates a modern water highway, proactive, precise. An automated PNGLU isn't the end game. It's a strategic starting point for a new era of modern waterway transport in China. Beyond a 135-mile canal, This project marks the first step in a nationwide logistics overhaul mapped out by Beijing with 3 core pillars. The goal is a national network of artificial canals linking major rivers like the Yangtze, Xizang, and Huai, with hydropower dams and strategic seaports like Qinzhou, Shenzhen, and Qingdao. This is a systematic shift from road to water transport, easing strain on overstretched rail and highway systems. Pinglu is the first example, a canal through complex terrain, multifunctional, operating year-round, independent of water levels or seasons, a true next-generation inland water highway. Beyond digging canals, China's taking it further, integrating robots, smart sensors, and artificial intelligence, AI, into core infrastructure at locks like Kinyan or Madao. Water regulation and ship control systems are automated, reducing labor, increasing precision, and enabling 24/7 operation regardless of weather in the future. With autonomous ship development, this automation will lay the foundation for a fully smart inland transport ecosystem where AI not only navigates ships, but optimizes cargo flows in real time. If waterways are the arteries, data is the nervous system, connecting every point in the transport chain: ships, ports, warehouses, markets into a centralized digital system. This enables optimized route planning and coordination, real-time monitoring of climate, water levels, and traffic. A 30 to 50% reduction in domestic transit times by 2035. This digitization level doesn't just serve transport, it's the backbone for e-commerce, on-demand manufacturing, and global supply chains, all synchronized in a digital map of China's waterway transport. Pinglu isn't just a waterway, it's a microcosm of a China digitizing the flow of commerce, shifting from road dependency to super-efficient inland waterways, and thereby reshaping the global logistics map. And if the 2050 plan comes to fruition, Pinglu won't just enter engineering textbooks. It'll be in the curricula of every military and economic strategy academy worldwide. From the world's fastest high-speed rail network, driverless subways beneath cities, to massive interprovincial canals like Pinglu, China isn't just building infrastructure. It's redrawing the logistics map of the 21st century. While many Western nations, especially the US, grapple with patching up World War-era bridges or negotiating budgets for Mississippi River dredging, China has entered an era of infrastructure as strategy, where every kilometer of canal, every lock, is a geopolitical chess piece. Pinglu doesn't just shorten domestic transport routes. It opens an export gateway for hundreds of millions in China's west and southwest. It's directly accessing the South China Sea without detouring through Guangdong or the Malacca Strait. This isn't just a logistics route. It's a symbol of 21st century infrastructure power. And now, the question for you. What do you think about China running 100,002 ships, 135 kilometers inland, while the US struggles to expand its Mississippi River transport system? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. You think it's time for the US and other nations to invest seriously in domestic logistics systems? Do you see this as a new form of soft power quietly reshaping the global trade balance? If you find these analyses valuable, please like, subscribe, and share this video from Top 10 Discoveries to stay tuned for strategic insights on infrastructure, energy, and technology worldwide. Top 10 Discoveries will return with more earth-shaking discoveries, thrilling space races, and untold stories of ambitions shaping the cosmos. Goodbye, and see you soon.